Super. Super. Thanks, Zara. Good morning, all. First of all, thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Andrew Etherington. I'm the CEO of P3MO, and today we'll go through how we are supporting our central and local government clients in delivering strategic initiatives, but also some of their large capital programs as well. Um, Throughout the webinar today, there will be 4 questions pop up. It's purely multiple choice. It'd be really helpful, much appreciated, if you were just sort of to vote. Fantastic to get the feedback and what your thoughts are on those as well. We do also have the ability to ask questions. We will save 10 minutes at the end to go through the questions that do come in as part of the session just now. But we also have a number of individuals that have sent questions in advance, which we will cover off also. So without any further ado, let me bring up and I'll share the platform and I'll talk you through how we're supporting our customers in your domain. Super. So Zara, I will take the screen. Fantastic. So first of all, from a P3MO platform perspective, we've really aimed to say how do you bring and provide a platform which has got all of the service and support that you would expect of, a partner as such, and not just the provision of a platform itself. So how do you get that essentially out the box experience, but with a bolstered support model, which is of course not costly, and it comes at that offering as well. Now, when you log in, you will see that you have a series of options or modules down the left-hand side. For all of you in the room, I'm sure this terminology won't be too unfamiliar to you, but elements like scorecard objectives or what you're wanting to achieve. We work with mayoral authorities, for example, and they always have the objectives and outcomes that they want as part of their project or portfolio. Risks and planning, benefits realization, that's always something that we tend to forget about. And then on to funding, any delivery partners, and ultimately resource management. We will also talk about what we call our intake, which essentially is how do you start to shape and manage a pipeline of projects, and we'll go through that too. Now, the platform itself is fully configurable. The text, the colors, any metrics that you have, and it can be configured at all levels of the organization. So whether that be at directorate, down into function, down into local team, or whether that be, more business units, depending on the structure. And that edit mode for people that are global admins is very, very easy to change. So you can pop in, but just take the asterisks off. Within seconds, the platform can be configured, and we will set that all up for you, but you are able to self-manage it too. So when you first log in the home page, you can see here we're on the Public Estate Net Zero portfolio, of which there is 7 projects. Green, amber, red, all is okay. At risk, we have a bit of a potential problem, and then red, of course, we have an issue, really need to address it promptly. And when you go through, you will see there's various programs here. There's also the decarbonisation, and you've got a series of metrics. Now, this terminology, I'm sure, is not too unfamiliar, but whether that be digital connectivity, there's a lot of digitization ongoing in your space at the minute. Absolutely fundamental, and it's where a lot of local and central government are going. If you then look at your footprints, your directorates, and of course, when you come down the bottom, you will see your 7 projects. Now, this is giving you that view at a glance. So without leaving the homepage, with purely logging in, you can get a quick oversight of your portfolio. So for those of you, and I know we've got a mix on the call today of people from, the portfolio, the PMO director and heads of, all the way through to those of you that are more on the front line, more on the delivery side, where you're managing that day-to-day projects, and we'll touch on how you then update the platform very easily as well. But if you come with your stakeholder and maybe your more head of director oversight perspective, you can get that very quick glance. Now, more often than not, we've only got 7 projects. Now, more often than not, we're not as fortunate to only have 7. Sometimes you might have 70, or in some cases, we have customers that have 700 plus. So in that case, you want to be able to drill down. You want to be able to filter, and you can do that with the click of a button. So you say, I'd like to see the 2 that are amber, and digitization is a big thing at the moment for us. We'll drill down into digital connectivity. So you can see where it sits, and actually you can see its service transition readiness. Now, if we then drill into that with the 3rd click, so the whole concept is that you're able to get in the platform and get what you need, and of course back out again in no more than 3 clicks. So it is about speed and efficiency. So in this case, with the 3rd click, let's drill down into why service transition readiness is amber. So you can see this is a page of 2 halves essentially. The left-hand side, elements like your stage, or that may be called phase, your owners or project managers, and of course, in this case, public service areas, beneficiary groups, regions. If it's maybe mayoral, you've got different regions and different authorities that sit underneath. You can start to delineate where that delivery and where that project is starting to impact or be delivered from. On the right-hand side, you'll see there's various metrics here. Now, it's very easy to update. It can be framework agnostic. It can also do multiple frameworks. So if you wanted to explore, maybe you were running something in Agile or waterfall. Common term today is Agile, where actually you have a mix of the both. Then the one platform can cater for multiple use cases through the configuration. You would update very easily, so if we just said all on track, you can start to type, pretty straightforward, and then you'd save down the bottom. One part that we get quite often is that no platform will necessarily do 100%. And I'm not going to sit and say that ours necessarily does, but it's about how do you then link into some of that periphery support information that you may need. That might be a design document if it's construction, or a new system. It could be other supporting documents or artifacts as well. So you can start to have centralized collaborative space that you then spool out to through the links. As you would expect, you can have stakeholders that are in the platform, or you can start to have stakeholders that are out the platform. It might be suppliers, partners, or people that maybe sit in a different part of the business as well. We will touch on resource management, but what you'll see is that you can have your required resources and your assigned resources. So are people allocated to the time that they should be, or are they over allocated and actually maybe overworked? And of course, you can have tasks not to be mistaken for a plan or a Gantt chart, but very much looking at how do we then take some quick actions off the back of meetings that we're doing. Now you see these tabs across the top. This is the only part of the system where you come in to update. You do not have to go to different areas. You can, of course, but you don't have to update these elements. Once you're done here, you would then go into, let's say, your delivery control item, or more familiar would be plan and Gantt chart. And you can have, we just move this to the side, you can have your Gantt charts, you can move things within it. If you do move elements, then if you move them past key dependencies, as I will show just now, you will get a constraint. So what the platform will do is inform you that you are going to break that dependency, and therefore understand the impact that that may have and what the knock-on effect would be. For those of you that maybe aren't interested in the Gantt charts, they're great for presentations, and we'll show you how you can create PowerPoint packs, and automate them. But you can also have a table view. It's very easy to update your drop downs, your dates, and also you've got your provenance. Each of these, which we'll not go through every one on today, but each of these are the same view, same user experience. So once you've clicked on one, you've understood the flow and how the system works of each module. The only thing that changes is, of course, the terminology and the configuration in many respects as well. Now, you can also comment in the platform. You can comment against these elements. So you would just act as you would do if you're on Teams or TikTok. Maybe some of you are on that these days as well. Then you can just act and you can start to communicate through that. And then you get notified through the system itself. One thing that we find is very important in your space, very much in government, and we do a lot of work across regulatory focused industries, pharma, healthcare, real estate is a big one now, with a lot of new legislation there, is you can actually have an audit trail. So you can start to see when things are updated, version history, and you can go back in time. So if you have those requirements where you are audited, which a lot of you, if not all of you, will be, you can start to have that in place too. Now, if I change hats and I'll come out and I'll go back up a level again, we have these modules down the side. Now, if we said, okay, well, let's go to our plan in our Gantt chart side of it. Now, we can have a Gantt chart. This is everything. But if we go very tactful and we say, well, we want a table. Now, this is a table. It's a pretty table, but it's still a table. And it pops up and you can do your edits very quickly and you can move on. However, you're not interested necessarily in all of that, or certainly from a reporting standpoint. You might just want to see which ones are blocked. So with a single click, there's the 6 which are blocked. There's who I need to deal with in terms of that owner if there's one. And I can then pop in and actually start to explore that as well. Now I'll pop in just very quickly to resourcing. Now resource management we're finding is a more becoming more and more of a focus area for a lot of companies and authorities. And that's around how do you understand allocation? Who's at capacity? Who's over allocated? And actually, why are they over allocated? So if we go into Rachel, we can start to then understand, well, what is Rachel working on? She's in Transport Assurance Lead in the PSDS Grant Assurance Project. And actually, we can look at availability on a monthly basis and also her cost as well. Particularly if you're dealing with maybe third-party contractors, that could come in handy. But also, whether it's internal staff, it allows you to track your resource budget and what you're spending against that as well. Now, with all of this, you can then load your projects in, automatically. So you can have forms here. Fully customizable. You can move things around. And what that allows people to do is submit requests. You might design this, say, as a business case or for those of you that maybe do PIDs or project initiation documents. Then you can start to design that. So there's a submission process. And as part of that submission process, it can go through an approval process that then follows too. Now, just to finish off, before we move on to questions, everyone wants reports. The system is fantastic. It's live. It gives you it instantly. But we're all very familiar with PowerPoint. We are used to it. As much as building it is a struggle at times, certainly for those of you that are on the delivery end and doing those updates, or the PMO who's responsible for collating it, then it can be labor intensive. So a report builder allows you to create reports in PDF or PowerPoint, but it's essentially build once, use many times. So here we've got a report, and what we want to do is start to build one. So we can come in and we can say, well, okay, I'd like a plan. So there's these widgets. So you can drag them in, or you can just click, and up pops what is already a preset, as we call. So here, this was a preset on the service transition readiness. You'll see that's a Gantt chart. If you were then changing things and you said, okay, with this preset or project plan, I no longer want service transition, I actually want public estate, you can start to then pop that in, start to change with titles, or you can automate that as well, so on and so forth. You can then start to build your pack. So you can start to then move things, have multiple slides. You're then able to then export on the bottom right here, start to change these between PDF and PowerPoint, and do all of that automatically. So that will do anything in the system that you want. It doesn't just have to be planning. You might be using it as a template slide, and actually you just want a template for your, slide pack for people to complete. And you might say, well, I want that to be a standard. So I now want to create a preset. I want that as my template slide, and I can then create. And you'll see there, I've got a template slide. If I then do a click, that pops in. Very quick, very easy. And then I can start to, if I like, automate that, name it, set what we call an approval flow, if you wish to do so, which we're finding is more and more necessary. Or you can run a regular drumbeat. Drumbeat is just a governance cycle. You might once a week, say on a Friday at 9 a.m., you want to make sure you publish that report every week. It will take the latest data, and then it will move on and publish that to the audience, whether that's internal or external, to the platform as well. Now we have had, that concludes the demonstration. We have had a number of questions pop in. So if we just take these in turn, first one we have is we report our major programs into the Infrastructure and Projects Authority. Can P3MO produce that level of portfolio reporting without analysts rebuilding it every quarter? So this is quite appropriate, actually. So what you'll see there is the ability of what we've been going through, just a minute ago, where you can start to build your reports, you can start to move things around, you can move them across and between things, and of course you can start to have all these different modules as well. If you want, of course, you can automate it as I said, so your analysts don't have to build. The only caveat is, of course, you need the data in the system. So any data that you see here, particularly in your project details, anything at all can be automated, can be tracked. We do have instances where through that automation, and that drumbeat there, where actually you then start to use these as an audit trail so that if you are being audited, you can say, well, there was my performance in January, February, March. So, should that ever be a requirement? Yes, you have the audit trail in the system, but you can also use the report, feature for that as well. So we have another one, quite related actually. So this is from Barry. Thank you, Barry. Everything we spend has to stand up to internal audit and NEO scrutiny. Does P3MO give a defensible record of decisions, spend, and delivery status? So, yeah, very much so. Hopefully, I've answered some of that in the previous question. Very much so. You can have your record of decisions through your reporting. You can also then, through your, if I try and just show you a more wider view, you can have your record of your decisions and what's been changed there. And of course, if I come into funding, which we didn't go into too much, you can start to have various fundings and envelopes there. Each of these can then be broken down. So this is a rural build funding envelope. It's for the digital infrastructure allocation, and you can see and have various funding sources. You can track the history of that, and you can track it within there as you would expect. And that's how you then go through what did it look like previously. So you can have your record of decisions there as well. So we've got one here. So yeah, this is from Louise. Thank you, Louise. So procurement is a genuine hurdle for us. Are you available through frameworks? So yes, we can be found on Constellia, Bloom, CCS, and or now GCA, and also Public Contract Scotland. For those of you that might be closer to home to me, although I am nearer London these days. We're also expecting G-Cloud 15 confirmation, this year as well, as that's up for renewal. So we've got time. Yeah, we've got time for a few more. So we have several directorates, each running their own change with no single view for the executive team. Can leadership see the whole portfolio in one place? So let's go to back to the home page, and I'll just demonstrate this. So when I touched on earlier, I touched on the edit mode. Now, the edit mode actually allows you to edit at various levels, as I said. So and that's called variants. So what you might decide is that actually the team that's delivering public estate heat pumps need that to say total, but let's say they do initiative, total initiative. Actually, you then might say, well, okay, at a portfolio level, which leadership are interested in, actually, I don't want to look at it like that. It's the same metric, right? But we don't communicate in that way. Actually, we want portfolio performance because that then matches our reporting. So you can then start to do those variants and actually configure that in various ways. You can, on an individual basis, if any of those leadership or yourself on the delivery side, if that's kind of your focus, just as an example, then you can start to move these charts. So you can have a custom layout that you may want and move things about. Because at the end of the day, you might only want the table. You only have 3 or 4 projects that you're running. Do you really want all of the charts? Maybe not. Maybe you're a bit like me and you want to just get straight to it, or lazy, as some may say. Then you can just pop straight in to the table, single click, and you're down into the detail. So you can start to move that around as well. Um, so yeah, let's see if we can squeeze one more in. Okay, this is a good one actually. We get this one a lot. So data residency and security are non-negotiable in our environment. What accreditations do you hold, and where is our data hosted? So everyone on this call is from the UK. For now, data residency is in the UK. We are a Microsoft partner, so all of your data is held there. We do have the ability, with doing work in different countries, different continents, to have that data held in country. So that's very much a decision, but certainly for UK, it's always there. We are also ISO 27001 compliant, SOC 2 Type 2, Cyber Essentials Plus, and we do have a big focus on sustainability and silver accreditation in EcoVadis too. Now I'm conscious of time. I know all of you will be busy. First of all, thank you for taking the time. Um, if you do want to know more, please do reach out to us at hello@p3mo.io. I'm more than happy to take the time to run through some use cases or just share more that might sort of deep dive into your specific problems yourself. And have a lovely day. Thanks very much, all.